Hey, what's up, everybody? So yeah, a little trouble getting everything going tonight, but now it seems to be good. Let me know if there's any issues. Um, yeah, so since I did the live stream from Dirty River with my laptop on Saturday, when I tried to do the stream tonight, it wasn't connecting to this computer. And so ever since I set everything up to stream down here in the basement, I haven't had to think about it. Like I did all the research, did all the settings and all that stuff. So yeah, I started to stream. It's not connecting. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So I'm like scrambling. And then I also have been running this thing where I could pop up the chats, as Rick said, does everything he types pop up? It's no, I'm doing that manually. I have a an extension for Chrome, and I just click on the comments and they pop up. But yeah, so I was a little like flustered. Like the countdown was halfway through. I couldn't get the stream to work. I can't believe I did. But yeah, it's like one of those things like I'm actually, no expert in the technical details. I researched them once, set everything up. And then so even at the bike shop when we were trying to get it going, I couldn't figure out how to schedule it and started it. So we just started it and it went live. And then again, with the stuff like if you've watched any of that stream, you'll see it's kind of choppy. Since it was on Wi-Fi, what I needed to have done if I was paying more attention is lower the quality of the stream so it wasn't trying to send so much information. Down here, I'm hardwired, and I could kind of max everything out at the highest quality because I've got Ethernet cable running down here. But yeah, so all that kind of stuff. I was kind of interesting on Saturday. I'm glad we did it anyways. There was some fun stuff we did. Like for a lot of it, I would just let it run and all that. And like when we were just hanging out and I had wireless mics, so I'd kind of place it around if people were like talking at the table. But then doing the iPhone thing, that works with the Mac. So my MacBook will just let your iPhone become the camera like instantly. So Dave was able to follow me around or follow Otis around and then put the wireless mic. And actually it wasn't, that's what I thought maybe was being choppy, but I realized later when I went back and watched a little, it was actually just the stream quality was too high because like I said, it was kind of a spur of the moment, let's wing it, let's make this happen type thing. And, I'm still glad we did it. So anyways, I've got this working again. So I do need to go back and do some like refreshing myself on like the behind the scenes of how stuff happens because when I want to do stuff remote, I want to know how to have it work and then I want to know to revert it back to this computer to be the connection. I don't know. All that kind of stuff. So it amazes me when you see like people who Twitch stream or do all this other stuff like on location and make everything work. It's very simple to do it on a wired desktop. It's more complicated once you go out and about. Anyways, enough about that boring stuff. But yeah, say what's up to everybody. So I was popping up. I just added that, popping up the comments during the intro. And I was figuring that out after I finally got the stream to go online. So, yeah, what's up, Brick? What's up, Mark Day? Tanya made it in here today. Nice. I was just reading one of your comments on the last video right before I came on. Nathan Mace, what's up? Danny Dirty Life and Time. Sent a wave. Large Marge is in here. Yep, I do have a beverage tonight. What's up, Dylan? Obsolescence. Speaking of the that live stream we did, it was pretty cool. Like the Bike Sawp that we did on Saturday because a lot of people from the channel was there. So got to say what's up to Obsolescence. Tony was there selling stuff. Of course, Ben works at the shop. Hey, what's up, Carl? Micah D, how's it going? Eric Anderson, Arthur, Muskrat. Muskrat was also out at the Bike Sawp, so we got to hang out a little bit. 5Q, how's it going? Jay Dandy was there too, so Jay Dandy actually hooked me up with this vintage Brooks. I was actually just in. I was inspecting it to like kind of look at the differences between, this is a special, so it looks a little different, obviously. But some of the modern stuff, like they didn't have the plate on the back on this one, but size-wise, they're pretty similar. I think the modern B17 is a tiny bit wider, but almost identical. And it's interesting because when you hear Brooks people, you'll hear people always say like, everything's gone down in quality. They're more similar than I expected them to be. So. Yeah. I could get more into that later. Oh, I haven't watched it yet either, Jay Dandy, traveling through his video. So I'm looking forward to it. You watched the last stream, but you didn't have sound. Yeah, it was cool. There was the parts of the stream, if anyone went back, I would fast forward to the parts where we're actually walking around and chatting with people. The one thing is when I connected the iPhone to the laptop, I don't know if there's a way to do this. There was no visual on the iPhone because it's acting as the webcam for the laptop. So I think the design is that you would be sitting at your laptop, so you'd be seeing, just like right now, I have a camera over here, but I could see myself over here, so I know where the framing is. So Dave checked out. He's like, you're basically pointing the camera at everyone's crotch as they sit there and talk about stuff. So, uh, lesson learned. Later in the stream, what he was doing, he was walking around when I was photographing with two phones. Oh, thanks.
Michael Henriquez subscribed to the channel.
But yeah, so he had two phones, and what he was doing is he could see YouTube on one, and then the other one was the one recording me, so he knew where to point him. Not ideal, but it worked. So, hey Sam, how you doing? Scott. Oh yeah. So I look and Tony's got his All City sitting there that he didn't build up too long ago, and he has a sale sign, and I'm like, Tony, you would sell that All City? And then I looked. He's like, look at the price. And so this is what Jay Dandy is referencing. Tony had the kind of the FU price on his All City, so it was pretty funny. Also, lots of hydrogen peroxide for sale. Tony pulls up on a vintage bike. What's up, nerd? You want to do some blood doping? Oh, and Tony said, I was not there selling stuff. I was there standing next to my stuff. Yeah, so for the first Bike Swap, it was a lot of fun to hang out and talk to everyone. And some of us went for a ride after. But there were more sellers than buyers, for sure. I think a lot of us dragged a lot of stuff out there, and we all looked at each other's stuff, and it was cool. But yeah, there were definitely, Aaron sold a few things, and I did sell a couple things. And I brought my stickers and some swag, so I sold some of that and T-shirts too. But bike parts, not a lot. But it was the first one, we're talking about trying to make it a regular thing. Like, I know Large mentioned, maybe we do one a season. Otis wants to do it again. I said, yeah, as long as it helps out the shop, it's a lot of fun. So I don't know. I think we try it again, see what happens. But yeah, either way, it's fun to like walk around and nerd out about everyone's bike stuff. Some people brought some really cool stuff. So that guy with the vintage Eddie Merckx with full vintage Campy Super Record, that was like mint, like this complete mint vintage road bike. And he's like, I don't know what it's worth. You can make an offer. And I'm like, I have a whole wall of vintage road bikes. None are even a quarter of as nice as this one was. But I'm like, I definitely do not need to buy another road bike. So Muskrat said, got a B67 and a Slam Beers Not Stem sticker at the swap. Nice. Let me try and, all right, got that working. Wanted to check one other thing here. Cool. Oh, Rick asked, how did the portrait session go? Yeah, so we did photos of people with their bikes. It was cool. One thing I would want to do next time is get there. I didn't expect people to get set up so early. So I showed up at like 20 to 2 before it started, thinking I would have time to set up. Yonda did hold the spot that I wanted to set up my stuff. And that was basically just so I could have the computer closest possible to the shop so the Wi-Fi would be the strongest. By the time we did portraits, I didn't quite have the background I would have liked, but I did bring a 105 1.4, so it's able to blur the background enough that the background isn't that big of a deal. I think one thing I would do next time if we do bike portraits again, though, is like set up earlier, probably even put the camera on a tripod, mark a spot for the people to stand with their bikes, so it's all stays a little more uniform, and then like work out the backdrop a little more. But I was really happy with the shots we got. They still looked really cool, and people seemed really happy with them because I've seen almost everyone who I photographed post theirs. I was just thinking, Dylan, we forgot to do yours. So, yeah, there's a couple. And then, well, Dylan and Ben went riding for a while during the swap, so large. So, yeah, but there's a couple people I was like, oh, we never took their bike portrait. But yeah, so I think I did 30 overall, like 30 individuals. I obviously took like 100 photos, but I think 30 different people. So yeah, it was cool. It's fun to do. Yeah, definitely want to do it again, and definitely want to step it up a notch too. But yeah, Dylan said swaps seem tricky with all the specific parts compatibility and individual tastes. And that's the thing too, you have your people who go to a swap and they're, might be expecting vintage stuff, or other people who are looking to get something for their bike that's a modern standard. You never know. So, you know, it's definitely, I think, was bigger than the first one we ever did at Dirty River at the old location. I don't know. Ben might remember, but that was a great swap for me because I picked up a 105 group set that I'm still running on a vintage Trek. So I've definitely watched other videos too of bike swaps that are in bigger cities where there's just more people, so there's more vendors. It almost looks like a farmer's market where so there's going to be more selection and choice. It was funny because a lot of us who are like know each other, it's like, you know, a lot of us either have the same stuff or similar builds and stuff like that too. So I don't know. But yeah, it was still fun. Still a fun day to hang out. And it winded down at a reasonable time too. So like, people were set up by 2, and then what did we do? We broke down like around 5. The shop closed would have closed at 4. We obviously left the doors open. And then we rode off to dinner, around 6 maybe? So Tony said, you think you had stuff for sale at this swap meet that you brought years ago to the first Dirty River swap meet? Want to swap your expensive stuff for my crappy stuff? Yeah, I mostly brought like vintage stuff. I had no idea. I brought like vintage frames and vintage handlebars, and some were basically just giveaways. Like if someone would have asked and was really interested in something cheap, it would have definitely been like a just take it. Had some old aero levers that were pretty decent Shimano ones. Someone asked me, and I said $15, and they didn't go for that. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I don't need these, but $15 is pretty reasonable for some, I don't know, 550 aero levers. But that's that's how it goes. Oh, I missed Tony's comment here. Said he thinks the more we do, the better it'll get. Now the sellers know about it. Next time we'll make sure the buyers know too. We still had a lot of fun. Yeah, and I think that's kind of part of it. Maybe with our outreach, like who we're hitting is the kind of people who are going to show up to sell stuff, and yeah, maybe need to try to get the word out beyond our like immediate crew. But yeah, there were people there that I'd never seen before though. So, and I asked a couple other people if they knew him. So there were definitely people who showed up that I didn't know, which was nice. So. Jay Dandy said, bring pedals, swap strategically, go home with a Pinarello. It was funny because I did talk to a different friend, Ben, who I know from the bike shop, but he said, I guess the swap was a failure because I left with more than I brought. And I think that was the case for a lot of us. We found something cool, got it, and then left with all our stuff and the cool stuff we found. So, but hey, what's up, Chris? How you doing tonight? Greetings from Indonesia. Hey, how's it going? Doka ma demo, doka ma demo, doka ma demo. Yeah, it was too. Dave and Aaron helped me out a ton. There's no way I could have done the portraits. Tried to do the live stream. Had all my stuff set up without them helping me out. And like Aaron, went through and priced all the stuff. I brought some masking tape and a marker, and then Dave helping with the stream and figure stuff out. Yeah, I would have been in trouble. It was great, and it was fun too because like Dylan came into town. We rode Hampton in the morning, and then in the evening, like I said, went out and got dinner and all that stuff. So yeah, hopefully maybe we could get I don't know, maybe we pair it with a planned ride at a specific time next time too. So there's like the bike swap, and then do like a hard cut at 5:30 where we could like have a planned ride somewhere, or depending on the season, what time that works, or maybe a whole weekend. Uh, Speaking to another channel member hit me up about doing a ride in Pittsburgh in November. Be in town for a half week. He's going to do a cyclocross race and then have a do a show. So I'm not going to. I think he'll be in town a Wednesday to a Sunday around the 10th. Not going to commit to a date yet because it's a little early for me with the freelancer lifestyle. But so might try and do another Pittsburgh meetup. So did one a month ago maybe. So keep an eye out for that. I'll post it in the Discord as always. So. Oh, Tony said you made enough cash to cover dinner, and Obsolescence traded you his 26-inch studded tires for some micro shift levers. Yeah, that's a reasonable swap. Yeah. I did see your comment too, Chris, but I have no SRAM knowledge. So, but I know there's a lot of SRAM people in the chat, so maybe someone else could help you out. Like when I read Rival versus Force, what is Rival, the 105, and Force is the Ultegra, kind of, if you were putting it in Shimano's road world. But I don't even know. I shouldn't even pretend like I know what I'm talking about. But yeah, anyone who could help out in the chat, go for it. What else? There was one other thing from that. There's one other thing from that day I felt like I wanted to talk about, and can't remember what it was. I made some notes, but it just says Bike Sawp, low quality phone. So I guess I covered everything. Rick said add a raffle. Yeah, if someone wants to handle that, I don't. Helping promote and set it up was, yeah. A bike ride would be the next thing that I would be probably interested in helping out with. But oh, Inksley, you said question from last week. Was the inflatable sleeping pad you started out from REI a Climate? It wasn't. That's not the brand it is. I'm actually not familiar with that brand, Climate. That's the first time I've seen it. Oh, yeah, so at the Bike Sawp, too, Tony, Large Marge said you get rid of all the hydrogen peroxide. So Tony's wife had bought, she thought she was ordering a 32-ounce bottle of hydrogen peroxide, but she ordered 32 bottles of hydrogen peroxide. So Tony bought them, and if you bought anything from Tony's table, you got a free bottle of hydrogen peroxide, which the ones that didn't go ended up getting donated to the veterinarian clinic where Kelly works. So it was a great marketing way to go. Sam said Tim loves SRAM. Nice. Otis sold you a new cassette and derailleur for the Bridgestone. And that was a big part of the whole thing, too, was to help. It's also to get people to the shop. It's like, yeah, people could unload some stuff, people could hang out, but there was Otis did a big all city sale, and, I think the shop did a little business, which is also, a whole goal of it. So, hey, Red, how's it going? Good day? Good evening out here where I am. Arthur said he found a Kubi saddle and a good set of tires at a swap for about $30 total. I did get a really cool, my friend E sold me one of their Renee Ayers Hurricane Ridge Extra Lights. So they were saying that they'd love to race them, but they're just too risky in a race. So I was really surprised with the $5. Basically, we traded because they bought some stickers from me, and then I bought the $5. What would have now these go for what, like $90? So I'm excited to try it out. I've got tons of tread on my Raleigh, so this is the bike I'll probably put it on. But they were saying like nothing rides like the extra light Renee Earth, so you just have to worry about them. I'm having trouble keeping sealant in their regular casing, so we'll see how this goes. But I do want to try it out, and because I've never ridden the extra lights, but like I said, they were saying that it rides better than anything else. Oh, Nathan said my SRAM to Shimano analogy was on. So talking to all you guys for all this time, and then my SRAM friends that I ride with, like Large and I guess Aaron and whoever else, is finally paying off that I am starting to get a handle on the SRAM lineup, which I should, being someone who makes a bunch of cycling YouTube videos. Even if I don't ride it, I like to have the knowledge about what it is. So, greetings from NORAS. Is that Northern Arizona, Dennis? Oh, Rick's comment that I missed. Buying the studded tires means it'll never snow again. That's fine. Back to guessing the brand of my sleeping mat. I should have looked it up. I forgot about that from the last stream. I should have just pulled it out and looked it up. I'll be grabbing it out of the. I have like these metal cabinets it's in, and I have to move a couple things because my camping stuff is, kind of out of the way. But I will be pulling it out next week, so maybe I'll try and remember to pull it out before Tuesday's live stream. So. Dylan said he had a climate pad, packed small, but felt like you got ran over by a dump truck every morning after using it. Huh. If swaps are so cheap, why do I always walk away broke? I definitely had a net positive, but again, like mine was kind of cheating because I was selling like, new swag, So had a bunch of friends buy stickers, and like I said, my buddy Dave, who's not here tonight because it's not a Tuesday. His family, I think, bought a couple of the T-shirts and stuff. That's a pretty funny one there. Oh yeah, the cross check. Ah man, it's not like I personally own any Surleys, but I just feel like QBP is really a sinking ship, doesn't it? I mean, eliminating All City completely, eliminating what seems like a reasonably popular and well-known, man, almost like a flagship bike for them. I mean, I'm sure they're tightening their focus on what Surly does, which is going to be more gnarly packing stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I just really wonder if QBP really got bloated with hiring during the shortage and the pandemic and everything, like the bike boom, and then it came out on the other side with more competition, and yeah, just there's the glut of bikes that are out there right now. It's hurting everyone in the industry. Then all the people who bought bikes and aren't riding them and who are now trying to sell them. So like bike prices are just really depressed. So it seems like that's my best guess. I don't know if anyone has any links to any articles about it yet. I'm sure some stuff will come out eventually about what happened at QBP, but yeah, I don't know. It's surprising. I was saying one of the things I really feel about QBP is And this is again just me guessing because I don't know the inside baseball at the brand, but I feel like they have maybe kept their brand, like the employees, very separate, and so getting rid of All City was the easiest way to fire just a bunch of people at once and cut costs, to really get rid of people, really cut back and make the company more lean. Because to me, it's like if there was a lot of crossover, I mean, how hard is it to have bikes painted a certain way with a certain decal on them? I don't know. So it must have been, I feel that the development and research and models and the looks and everything is brand specific. So. Arthur said he liked the cross check. Anyone try the preamble? I'm trying to. I feel like we were talking to someone who had the preamble. My buddy Brad, actually, who just posted a green. I just saw someone, like a fairly well-known cyclist, post like a green cross check. Maybe it was Jared from Hope Cyclery in Johnstown posted a green, 2013 cross check. But that's what Otis had one. He sold it to my friend Brad, and it's kind of his first. I know they were never really considered gravel bikes, but everyone kind of considers them the prototype gravel bike, right? Gravel bikes before gravel bikes. Chuck, I love this because I have only eaten at Taco Bell like a handful of times in the last decade, but I was vegetarian forever, and 7-layer burritos were my go-to. I would still, yeah. I think if I was going to Taco Bell and they had 7-layer burritos, that's still what I would get because it's not like I really trust the meat from Taco Bell, anyways. But yeah, that's a funny comment. The 7-layer burrito, and then I don't know if you guys know this, certain Taco Bells, they didn't have it out. You had to ask for it, but had green sauce and like a bigger, clear package. So 7-layer burrito with the green sauce that was my favorite. Maybe a nacho bel grande with no meat too, but. Oh, has the Trek 520 been discontinued? I don't really follow Trek, to be honest, so I don't pay as much attention to I always see the news. I watch GCN and Cycling Weekly and all the channels, bikepacking.com, but yeah, pay way more attention to the smaller brands. So, what's up, Yinzer? If you just got here, I was mentioning, Yinzer, that we might do another Pittsburgh meetup in November, like the second week, but not 100% sure. Like I said, I have to see how my freelancer schedule pans out. Oh man, I guess I'm out of the Taco Bell loop. I didn't know they don't make the Mexi Melt anymore either. But yeah, weather-wise, we had like I don't know if anyone saw. I just put out a video at like 6 o'clock today. But yesterday's weather was. You could just see the blue skies with some clouds, just beautiful. But the last few days have been like August weather, so it's been pretty strange to have the leaves changing. But it's like so warm, and it's been quite a week of like consistent warm weather. Today's kind of the end of that. This big front just moved in right now. It's raining right now. And yeah, Saturday the high is 56 with a chance of showers. So it's going to be a dramatic. We didn't get like a step down into fall. It's going to be a dramatic shift. And I have to work all day Saturday. Not have to. I like my job, but I'm working all day Saturday. So outside. So see how that goes. Yeah, Jay Dandy, no question about it. That Q is doing some serious belt tightening. Cutting All City. I think that's a real blow to certain shops. Dirty River being one of them. Like the amount of space horses and just where their bikes were positioned at the price point were just really good bikes to sell. Endlessly upgradable. Yeah. And so I didn't expect Surly to end up cutting models. I thought Surly was going to maybe broaden its line and absorb some of like All City because, like I think I've said this in the Discord and other places, but I had felt like over a number of years, Surly and All City, they had been working to differentiate them. You know, they got rid of the Pacer because All City then had a road bike. So it was kind of like All City could have that, and then the light gravel, and then Surly would be the heavier duty stuff. That's the way I felt. I don't know. I know some of you guys have been following those two brands longer than I have, and Large works in a shop that sells both. But so I just felt that was weird then. So for All City to go away, then see Surly keep cutting models was surprising. So I don't know if Q's going to try and go all in on like salsa or something like that. I don't. Be curious to see what happens. Dennis said so. Northern Arizona, Prescott, Sedona, Flagstaff. Oh, I did see something about Taco Bell bringing potatoes back. They never had them around here. It always feels like the potato Mexican thing is something from farther out west. Because whenever I've gone to like the Taco John's or the other like chains that exist more in the west is when they have like potato dishes. And then of course, Canada. Everything is potatoes in Canada, right? So everywhere you go, it's like, yeah. I remember they had like a Nacho Bel Grande when I was in Canada this years ago in Toronto. And there was a potato version. We never had that around here. So yeah, and I saw you guys talking about that. Is the steamroller discontinued? Eric said, "Get a midnight special while you can." Yeah, I mean, what a great versatile bike. What? Oh, it doesn't. I tried to click on Rick's retracted message, but hey, what's up, Raymond? How you doing? Jay Dandy said, "You think QBP expanded warehouse space a bit too fast?" I'm guessing they hired a lot too, like people might have been doing there. Like you had the bike boom, you were trying to do everything you could to keep up with demand. But I always wonder about that. Like, how do brands, and this isn't just specific to cycling, but how trends come and go. Like I've worn Vans old school since I was 17. Like now I order them two pairs at a time. Like I order like one to look a little nicer, and I order one to like ride my bike and like get dirty and mess up. And I just how like that has been like a wave where Vans get like super in style, like they have been the last few years. And so how do you like ramp up production and ramp up marketing and all that stuff when the money's coming in, but then be prepared for like the trends change and people are back to Chuck Taylors or whatever running shoes come back in? I don't know. It's kind of things I sometimes like business logistics on that level that are so trend driven have to be tough. And QBP is the biggest bike brand in the country, I think in the world, right? So, which is surprising stat, or they were. Who knows what they're at right now? But yeah. Smart builders would jump on opportunity. Hey, thanks for that. Gorector. Uh, yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty positive about the idea of the bike boom and bust causing the decline in QBP. I don't know the behind the scenes. That's the stuff I'm guessing at, like, cutting All City. Like I said, you know, what's the most expensive part of your business? In most cases, your employees, depending on the business. But yeah, if cutting All City meant that they could, and this number, I have no idea. 150 employees right there, that's huge, right? I don't know Trek specifically, but a ton of the bike brands are having sales and have been now for large, if, like over a year, I think. So yeah, I I would say that's. I don't need to know the inside of Trek to say that's true because it's just industry wide that there's just everything ramped up. Everyone finally got ramped up to get caught up, and then sales crashed. Whoops, sorry, hit the mic. So yeah, every brand, I think that's every brand has a glut, and they're trying to move them. But Yeah, I thought the Ghost Grappler was cool too. And I mean, that's also part of probably dumping the cross check, doing a more, it's a cross check's kind of an iconic bike, but there's bikes that are more modern that, so instead of updating the older model, bring out something that kind of is versatile as well with some more modern standards. What's up, mass produced? Just built a Soma Pescadero. I that specific Soma I'm not actually familiar with. Oh, I can't with this app thing to pull up. I can't copy and paste. I have to type everything. There's a couple things I need to figure out about this, but I want to look at the Pescadero because I am not familiar with it. Yeah, my buddy Micah has the Wolverine, which I think is a really cool bike. I usually really like the looks of Somas. Real classic. Yeah. Whoops. There we go. Can we see the photos? Oh, what do they got going? Oh, there we go. Can I scroll through them? Oh, there we go. How wide of what is the clearance on these? That's always the thing I'm most interested in on any bike now because I would. Oh, 38. 700 by 38. Yeah, that's nice. Endurance road bike. That would be the least I would want to go. So. Nice. Cool. 23 pounds. Respectable, definitely. The Grappler is a tank, but a fun and stable ride. Yeah. I think the whole tank thing is kind of Surly's whole thing now, right? Yeah, I've heard this a lot, Carl, and I other people have been saying this, talking about All City, and I do think it's true. Whereas, you look at the Space Horse or something like that, and you look at, Wild Bikes and Sklar doing like production, even Money doing production bikes. I do think that, a lot of these custom frame builders have started to do production bikes, so there's a little more, you know, people could get something a little more unique, a little different. That's kind of exciting in a similar price point. Crust, I think, kind of a little, they're obviously a little older than some of these other brands, but have kind of been that kind of brand that is, they have similar bikes to All City, but people want to go with. I definitely think that is part of it. I think it's just a compounding problem. I think, you take the bike boom and bust and then combine it with the new bikes people are buying. I think All City is also taking a hit from all this competition from smaller brands. And, in a lot of these smaller brands, like you look at Wild, like we were just up at Hodag, like Jeff's a guy who puts on this cool event and stuff like that. And it just feels a lot more personal. And I think so a lot of people feel like that even if this, there's American made Wilds too. And some were before it closed down, the old Schwinn plant, my name just Waterford and all that. But, the Wilds could be made in the same factory that the All Cities were made in, but people were going to feel more of a connection to someone that they could actually go and ride their bike with now. And he's also the guy who founded All City anyways, and he's not there anymore, right? So. Tony said, unpopular opinion maybe, but I would rather have seen Surly go. Don't really feel like I need 14 boring looking variations on the Karate Monkey. Personally, yeah, I would be more of an all city guy as well. I do like the midnight special a lot. And then if you were getting into heavier bike packing or even some mountain biking, but yeah, like Large picked up that Electric Queen recently. Yeah, I personally would fall more on the all city line. Like I've said this a million times on the stream and the channel. I mean, my rally is, why I don't own a space horse. They're because I already have that bike and they're pretty much almost the same bike. But the space horse would have been right up my alley. I probably would take that over the midnight special, but midnight special has much more tire clearance, right? So it's not apples to apples. Is midnight special a little more gorilla monsoon like maybe? I don't know. But either way, yeah, I'd be more of a space horse monsoon guy than the Surly lineup. But I hadn't like Tony, with the exception. I really like yours, the mint green, but I do feel like the last number of years, All City hadn't been making the colors that I liked as much as they used to. But yeah, that's all so personal preference. Uh, yeah, 520, 920, all gone. Yeah, you know, it wouldn't really, it doesn't, I mean, I guess Trek makes almost a little bit of everything, so maybe them cutting anything does, I don't know. They do make a whole, like every kind of bike, from cheap stuff to the highest end racing stuff. But yeah, I could definitely see that these would have been less popular bikes for Trek right now anyways. Like, why should Trek try and compete? We're talking about QBP, All City not being able to compete with like some stuff. Why would Trek bother with a steel, touring bike anymore? That kind of doesn't really surprise me. Cool, Yender, I will for sure. And like I said, I'll post in the Discord if we do a meetup, and I'll also tag you though too, so make sure you see it. Oh yeah, I would bring up my wax woes. So the problem I had, so I totally on board with the chain waxing thing. I've only had one bike I was doing it on, which was my Gunner, but I ran into a big problem with traveling. I wasn't worried about it like for bike packing. Um, we didn't really have that much damp weather when we went to Michigan the first time, but this last time we had a day where we rode and it was really wet. And then right after riding, the bikes had to go on the bike rack, and it rained our whole drive back. And even though, so a morning of riding, an evening of a bunch of rain, when we got back home at like midnight, I still dried the chain really good and re-waxed it. It didn't matter. I still had surface rust on the chain. Wax doesn't inhibit rust. So I ran into the problem with waxing the chain with traveling because it just becomes harder to control your circumstances. I know some people would do the two chain thing and swap them out, and then the other one would get cleaned up really good and re-waxed. I'm not doing that. So as a one chain guy, I ran into the problem with traveling and having the bike on a rack in situations I couldn't control. So yeah, I actually, what was I just doing? Went down to Cincinnati with Aaron, and on my way back, chain was squeaking. I could see the surface rust. I just lubed it normally. So I'm off the wax bandwagon for right now. I still believe it's a good idea. I definitely believe it's a good idea for bikes you don't, like Yonda was saying, bikes you don't ride that kind of hang around and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the problem I ran into was traveling in damp weather. And I'm thinking about stuff like I'm going to be bringing this bike out to higher ground. We're leaving next Friday. Me and Dylan are. And so then I'm going to be gone for a whole week. And then we're going to be out at Nutmeg and we'll be camping. So my bike will be sitting outside in those evenings. And they become situations where, I live somewhere wet and there'll be times when I can't control when I would need to get the wax reapplied. And so once you have that surface rust, I don't really see what you could do to just drip on liquid wax anymore. So I could still obviously clean the chain really well, start it over, do a reset, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, kind of a thing I didn't have in mind. So This Taco Bell Century conversation. I'm sure I dropped off talking about the wax, but hey, what's up, Malk? Yeah, State. Yeah, State's still out there. It seems like they're doing well. I haven't heard anything negative about State, but I'm not an industry insider. So Dylan said there's a decent vegan selection at Taco Bell. Huh. Yeah, I guess if you're getting stuff corn based, no cheese. Yeah. Like I said, it was my when I was vegetarian, like for a long part of it, I was not healthy. I just ate stuff without meat. I'm actually a way healthier eater now. I still don't eat that much meat, but cutting out processed food and all that kind of stuff. Things like Taco Bell was my uh, better thing. So, can I pull up Stream Elements? Oh yeah, I can. uh, Back to the All City thing. Tony said, I think it's probably pretty simple. All City's costs were too high for production bikes. QBP cut the brand with the thinnest margins. Yeah. All City's cost on producing the bikes. It's quite possible. I think, like I said, I definitely think it's a number of these factors we're talking about all playing in together, and that could definitely be an element of it. Yeah, where is PPP tonight? We don't. Another week where he might just be being silent because he said he's the last few weeks he's been listening but not in the mood to chat. What's up, pork chop? Yeah, Sam said, what's out there that's similar to All City that offers complete bikes? Soma are nice, but they only sell frames. Yeah, and that was one of the things because been having some talks with, just like when we're riding bikes, like with Otis a little bit about like kind of how do you replace this? And that's what I thought because, the Wolverine Soma is a really cool bike. And he's like, yeah, it's not the same because even just I was listening to Francis Cade's latest podcast today while I was working, and they were just talking about like what a deal bike manufacturers must get on components because you buy a bike frame and then try and build it up with new components, how expensive it gets so quick. But you buy a complete All City or a complete Trek or whatever, and it's almost like the components aren't even costing anything. So, yeah. So when you say what's out there selling completes, that's a great question. That's one thing that I know at the shop they're trying to fill in those gaps, because they sell some other cool brands, but they don't have that benefit of having that OM, getting the cheap components from Shimano and SRAM and Microshift. Trying to see if Pudgy will appear like Beetlejuice. Giant is the largest bike manufacturer. Yeah, and I don't know what the metric is, Tony, to say like, because Giant does make a ton of everyone's bikes. I guess technically QBP is the biggest bike company in the world, but I don't know what the metric is to come up with those discussions. Frosif, I think nice steel bikes are a relatively small niche. Um, I don't know. Do you think so? Outside of the road riding world, do you think it's that small? Like, I definitely live in a bubble because I ride with mostly people who ride steel bikes of every type. Definitely gravel, mountain, ATB leaning bikes. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the numbers would shake out on that. Definitely, I know roadies are looking to get carbon. Your typical uh, roadie doing a group ride is going to want a carbon bike. I I just feel like this gravel space, and not even gravel, because not now gravel is being associated with the races and like the World Gravel World Championships is this weekend. But when it comes to your regular rider, I just feel that is such a growing segment. I don't know. It's like the people who used to ride hybrids or '90s mountain bikes just because those were the bikes. I feel like that gravel steel bike is a very popular bike now. But like I said, I don't have the breakdowns on those numbers, and I definitely live in a bubble. So, all right, Dylan, we'll see you later.
Carl Hare super chatted $5.
Thanks, Carl. There is a way to type in a message that'll read out loud. I think you have to do it before. I don't know. I've never done it, but everyone else knows how to do it. But thank you anyways. Large said, Q said All City just wasn't selling. Huh. I still read that as wasn't selling enough. You know what I mean? I feel like they're a big company. To say it wasn't selling is just hard to believe. I think wasn't selling for what they needed it to sell for is probably, what I would think, but Muskrat, you were looking for a certain Riv? Yeah, Riv, and I know Rick follows them way more than I do, but it seems like they kind of do runs of certain models, don't do them for a while, then they might bring some back. Said I'm not the biggest Riv expert, but it kind of looks like they're a little interesting in that way because I follow them on Instagram and everything, and it'll be like, we're doing 500 of this bike, Chuck said, just looked it up. QBP has 18 pages of brands. Yeah, because they started certain things like, All City was started within QBP. Other things they bought, right? Like Salsa used to be independent. I don't know, is Problem Solver something they bought or is it something they started? A brand that I have gotten a lot of cool stuff from, but. Eric Anderson asked, couldn't they have sold All City? I would guess they would have looked into that, right? Getting something for it, but I feel like it's probably one of those things where the price they would have needed to make it worthwhile wasn't worth it. They probably made more in cutting the costs than they could have in selling it. You know what I mean? Like I think the brand, or just in general, their business had too much, and so yeah, probably cutting those costs is what they were looking to do. Yeah. Canyon have been having sales for the past 3 months. Yeah, everyone is. Yep, everyone's dumping stuff. Sour bikes. Yeah, I just watched. What was that? That's the German brand, right? All Pathless Pedal just put a video out on them. But again, their pricing seemed good. But again, they're not doing completes. It didn't look like it. So looked like a really cool brand of steel bikes, but not quite an All City replacement on that level. No, thank you. Wow. Inksley, you're really in on this. Here's a list of remaining brands of sleeping pads being sold by RER. My Tensa Nemo. I don't think my sleeping pad is. I still don't feel like it's any of this. Maybe it's a Sea to Summit. I don't know. It could be a Sea to Summit. I said it wasn't last time, but I could be wrong. I'd do a whole 100 on a pop blast. Tony said the Soma Pescadero looks like a cross-check. Who would have guessed? Yeah, I mean, it is a classic-looking steel, Are you saying you fit the 43s into that? They say it only clears 38s, but you're able to fit 43s into it? Excuse me. Do you have any advice on ways to prevent or help thigh leg cramps? Man, I usually don't cramp there, so I don't. I mean, definitely make sure you're drinking enough water. Cramps anywhere will come from being dehydrated, but yeah, I've never had that kind of cramping problem. I get a little bit in my right calf for some reason now, but I just try and massage it out. I mean, I guess that would be the same thing. I would be sitting there trying to, go back and forth and massage it out, but someone else might have better advice. Chuck said pickles as a recovery snack. Yeah. Yeah, making sure you got your, water, electrical lights, all that stuff. And Rick said try TheraWorks spray. Huh. Yeah, that's another good way. The tennis ball thing. I I actually have a. It's not a racquetball because it's solid, but it looks like a racquetball because it's blue, but it's solid rubber ball, and I use that to work out some like muscle problems. It works for me. Heating pads work for me. I use my heating pad, like an electric heating pad, on my back a lot, so I don't know if that would work. Uh, Chris, yeah, 43C means Gravel Kings. Gotcha, gotcha. Trying to read too fast. Hey, what's up, D'Amico? You said you think disappearing bike bans doesn't have a huge impact on you because you've convinced your wife you needed one expensive bike. I I mean, I'd say it doesn't have an impact on me directly as much either because I don't ever buy new bikes. But yeah, interesting. Yeah, I guess that's kind of true. It doesn't impact me, except impacts me as it's something to definitely talk about, and I just follow all this stuff because I'm interested in it. The Bianchi Volpe. I think I've looked up that one before. Is that the? Product not available in your country. Could I just see it though? Like if I'm not allowed to look at it. What? Can I change my country? Did I put Italy? English, Italian? All right, now they don't sell it in Italy. What a weird thing. Let's just go to an image search. Bypass it that way. That's not what it was. That's not even the right bike. $949 on eBay. eBay. Looks like what, a nine or a 10 speed build there. I don't think it was old news. That news just broke last week, Mulk. I mean, that was Bicycle Pubes had posted that RIP cross check, and then the Radavist reached out to Surly that confirmed it. So that was all pretty new, just the last few days, really. There's definitely been a lot of aluminum coming out lately, but I wouldn't say they're going to it. I don't know. I still think there's plenty of steel being made out there. Like I said, all these like frame builders are doing production bikes now. They're mostly going with steel. I feel like a lot of the aluminum that's coming out now is in the mid range. You look at that new crust, the two new crusts from that Ronnie Romance has been like promoting. Velo Orange has a new aluminum bike coming out. So I guess it depends on what you consider mid or low end. But I don't consider Velo Orange or crust low end. So I think they said 520 was their longest running model. Well, was it? Was it continue? Yeah, but they really refreshed that bike, right? Because they brought it back to that like vintage vibe after like Trek sticks with model numbers for a long time that don't necessarily. I don't know what's it to say. They change them even though they have the same number. But hey, what's up, Nathan? Yeah, I mean, it just depends on who your bike shop is. I definitely think the bigger bike shops are still driven by the industry and all that, but I just feel like there's way more. There are not way more because a lot of shops have closed too, but there are independent shops that aren't like that. I didn't know till I did the YouTube channel because I've talked about this before. Here in the Akron area, we're just lucky that we have a lot of shops that are not like that. So that it's just never been my experience. And so I didn't realize there's people who live in towns that hate their bike shops. They go in and it's all race driven. The people are trying to put them on skinny tired, slammed road bikes, and I had no idea that was like the case because it's just not where I live. We're just really lucky. Like I said, when I moved here to the studio and got back into cycling, there's an old school shop right down the street, and that's where I was walking in. We have a shop down in the valley, and then Otis opened his shop, which is where I go the most now, and it's just totally the opposite. So, but again, that's my experience where I live, so I know it's not everyone's experience. I definitely think that's the experience you get with the big brands, yeah. Aluminum is coming back because they're better at making it compliant now. Uh, the thing with aluminum originally, it was just lighter than steel, but it was super stiff. And so now they've just found better ways to make aluminum tubing. I think is the big impetus behind the comeback in aluminum. So, you know, like I've always talked about, the bike I have on the trainer is a Trek 1500, and it's aluminum. And I used to ride it on the road, like kind of as my road bike, and it only fits 28s, and it's just such a harsh ride. I mean, I could ride that thing pretty fast because that like I did feel like there was some of that, long as it was smooth, like that stiffness of it. But yeah, it's just for any rides that got long, it just got like really uncomfortable to ride, and I guess that's just not the case with aluminum anymore. Also, wider tire clearances, so I still think I'm one of the people who thinks frame material matters, no matter what anyone tells me. But like when you get to bikes with wider tire clearance, like riding my uh, 2001 Trek mountain bike in the winter with its steel studded tires, I don't notice that that's an aluminum bike at all. So, you know, I think there's also that factor that people are riding wider tired bikes. You notice the harshness of aluminum a little less as well, I would say. Hey, what's up, Racer? Phil's oil fan. I'm not sure what that means. Racer, I have no idea. Yeah, I mean, like, I guess you could they just put like the beans in a bowl for you? And again, I don't know all the ins and outs. I bet Fred Durst rides Karate Monkey or SL Ogre. I like not having to worry about rust on your aluminum bikes. That's true. And again, like riding my old mountain bike as a winter bike, that is like I mean, I've I rode that thing like crazy for over a decade, and now it is like my salt. And they salt the roads like crazy here, and just don't have a lot of problems with it. So yeah, that is something about aluminum too. Rib cells completes, yeah, but they use like unique components. So I think the difference with rib cell and completes is that they don't. One, they're already not at the price point of what we're talking about with like an All City, and then like they're not building their bikes with GRX. You know what I mean? Or Rival or Microshift Advent X or whatever. So they're not getting that scale that made bikes like a complete All City so affordable, you know, compared to certain other things. Hey, what's up, Eddie? You said Insider Birdie told you that the cost of making steel bikes in Taiwan has gone up a lot. Hmm. Oh, did I get this far behind? How did I get this far behind on everything? Holy shit. I'm going to try and catch up. I'm going to try and blow through some comments to get caught up because yeah, I kind of want to end this around 10:15, 10:20. Arthur brought up Jameis, which is a good option. They just the shop in the valley sells them. I'm just less familiar with them. Tony said on the carbon gravel, like when you go to events, you do see a lot of carbon. Most of the steel bikes are ours. Yeah, Yinzer, on the wax thing, I was pretty careful about making sure I was doing it the way Silka was recommending. So yeah, Eddie, that's kind of what we were talking about. I mean, but that's the whole industry. So yeah. Grant said advice on a perfect bike fit. You're in between sizes. Yeah, I mean, you got to try and then with the way you're positioning the saddle and stuff. Sometimes I feel like you can go smaller. I ride like the vintage mountain bikes, and you just have more seat tube, and then you just have the bars up higher. I use something like the Velo Orange Happy Stem or something like that. I don't know. I mean, you can mess with stuff so much, and you might ruin the handling of a bike eventually. But there are ways to, you know, definitely size up a smaller bike to make it work. Chris said he loves riding gravel on his heavy ass straggler. Yeah, I'm not a weight weenie. I don't ride fast enough that weight matters that much to me. What's up, Justin? Justin said gravel is becoming the most popular segment. I think gravel bikes for sure. Like what we call a gravel bike is, yeah, they just make sense. That they're better for most people on the road, and then you're not limited to the road. So it's obvious why it's the biggest growing segment. Um, but you said in your bubble, it's 100% carbon or aluminum. Yeah, aluminum is super rare, way more rare, I think, in my group. But I'll definitely see more carbon bikes out and about than steel. Yeah, we were just talking about that, Racer. Russ likened them to All City, but what I was saying, it doesn't look like that shop was building the bikes up. That's what we were saying. All City has that scale, or they did, QBP, to get those good deals on the big group sets. Yeah, Eddie giving that kind of bike fit advice that I was talking about. Is whiskey gone? Whiskey's QBP as well. I don't think they're gone. I could be wrong, but Muskrat said you're putting the B67 on your Schwinn Collegiate. Nice. What are some decent price steel cruiser bikes made today? Yeah, I don't. Anything you put sweetback bars on, right? With a high stack. Yeah. Carl, interesting. Dimitri said that's why All City is shutting down. Nice. Steve has a Jameis Renegade. Oh, really, Eric? I didn't. Yeah, Linksy has some crazy deals on bikes with GRX made in the USA. Yeah. Yeah, Dimitri, I remember you saying that you don't have a shop that you really dig. So, and then Cleveland too. So Northeast Ohio. When I was talking about our shops around here, I feel like Northeast Ohio in general because there's multiple shops I like in Cleveland. You know, Joy Machines being number one, but you know, Beat Cycles. Like, there's just a number of non-race oriented Blazing Saddles. Yeah, Cleveland has a number of non-race oriented bike shops too. So it's just a Northeast. Something about I don't know why. We do have one big guy here around the Akron region, Eddie's. That, like I said, I they're not corporate, but they feel very corporate. I know we have friends who work there. No offense, I know a lot of people work at Eddie's. I haven't gone in one for a long time now. Big truck dealer and all that, but when I used to go in there, it was you really felt like they were putting the sales pressure on you, and they were trying to sell you what was on the floor, not what was the best for you. So, Christian said your videos have been slowly moving you closer to buying a gravel bike. That they should, and I mean, again, like the term gravel doesn't matter to me, but like my gravel bike is my road bike now. I mean, it's just our roads suck. 42s are mostly what I want to be riding on. I know someone else is talking about 38s. 38s is a good tire size for road too now. I would, and all the research says they're faster anyways, you know. Yeah, what is there's a big, I know someone was trying to bring back magnesium. A huge problem with magnesium is it shatters, right? I know like they made those bikes, we've looked them up on the stream before. Was that late 80s or early 90s? But yeah, huge problem with those with magnesium is I think someone just came up with a new way to make it, but an alloy of magnesium that works better. But that used to be the problem. I think is if they fall over, they like shatter or something like that. So, hey Josh, how's it going? Josh Ramiro in here, really cool YouTuber. I've been enjoying your video. I just watched your backpack video, and I can't remember if I commented or not. A lot of times I make those comments in my head, but yeah, on your backpack video, I was like, that makes total sense for what you're talking about. So what you're doing, but also I like the whole concept of that's what I always think with like the YouTube stuff is you say one thing and everyone's like, why do you hate this other thing? You know, it's the whole internet meme. Like, but yeah, you could like one thing, you could like more than one kind of riding and more than one ways to like, you know, the video I made where I showed like the Velo Orange utility bars. Everyone's like, why don't you get a bike with a walled basket? That's why I thought it was fun, and it just worked out with what I wanted to do anyways, to ride my bike with the walled basket and make a video and be like, I do have one of those. It's just I like them both. They're both good for different things. So, anyways, what's up? Oh, I didn't mean to cut that. Racer said tires and saddles are the main thing when it comes to comfort. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot of that, but I've talked about this before, but I borrowed Otis's uh, War Road that was a carbon bike with these huge tires on it, and man, on the real rough stuff, it was so stiff. But
Nos fuimos de la capital. We left capital city. Subscribed to the channel.
it's quite the name. Tony said, if anyone's looking for a steel frame that's lighter than aluminum, he's still trying to clear out his Le Mans. Reynolds 853. Yeah, I've always been a huge proponent of going used, even though I love my bike shop, but I go in and I still spend a lot on service and tires and the components that wear out. But yeah, I mean, if you're being price conscious, a new bike's not the way to go, in my opinion. If you want to save money, get something used. I mean, there's so many people who want to move up to the latest and greatest all the time that the older stuff, I don't know. What's up, Steven Marino? Talking about cruisers, you said Soma makes some good stuff. Yeah, it's not really the market I look in because I build if I want a cruiser, I'm going to make it myself. Like my Miata, I turned into a single speed, put the Nito Technomic stem on it, really high sweepback bars, and that's my like cruiser, like riding to work with a say like a backpack full of camera gear, so I'm not leaned over. Yeah, but yeah, so I guess I don't really follow that like the cruisers like a new cruiser bike. You can turn most gravel or mountain bikes into a road bike, much harder the other way around. Well, yeah, just clearance. It's going to be all about clearance. Besides what you're mentioning, it's just, yeah, Gunner's out of business, though. So, I mean, I do feel like my Gunner can be like a little bit of a cruiser with its sweep bars, but I use it to ride gnarly stuff and do bike packing stuff. But Rick. Gravel leads to trail, leads to wanting bigger tires. Yeah, I mean just riding off road, like just having a gravel bike when I first got like that bike from Otis, it just made me realize I like it better on like all terrain. You know, just the wider tires. Like there is a point where you cross over a level of like wide tire that I don't necessarily always want to ride on the road, but there's no, I mean, I have no desire to ride 28s or, you know. Hey, what's up, Tim? Out of town working the week at the airplane yard. Nice. Oh, yeah, Vast. They're the company that brought back magnesium with a new manufacturing process or whatever. But yeah, the problem originally was what I was saying, they would shatter. But yeah, I do. Yeah, I like a bike that could do a little bit of everything. That's like I said. That's why I have a wall of vintage road bikes that I just don't ride that much anymore because I'm limited. And I used to ride them over gnarly stuff, but once you've rid a bike that's like comfortable over gnarly stuff, you're just like less likely to. Like when I built up my Peugeot and put 32s on it with tires that had a little bit of tread, to me that was like the bike that I could hit some of our like industrial gravel that you see in my videos. Like I'm like, oh yeah, this is much more comfortable than the Viscount was on its 28s, and just a more rigid ride than the Peugeot. But yeah, once you get used to the option of always like going wherever you want, worrying less about potholes, even on the road, the gravel bike is what I reach for. So Steven asked if anyone has done a 650 conversion on an old 26-inch bike. I haven't. I have one planned to do that, and I haven't finished it with a guy who makes wheels, and we've just never made it happen just because of both of our schedules. Um, I know Russ had a video about doing that with his old Schwinn mountain bike, but The conversion I've done the most is taking 700C bikes, converting them, our 27-inch, the American standard for wheels for a long time, converting them to 700, and that just gives you enough room to get those slightly like 35s or 38s maybe on some like vintage road bikes. That's what I've liked to do. I've got 3 or 4 of them built that way. So, hey, Nos Fuimos. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, I responded with, but I didn't know the numbers. That's kind of what I'm talking about right now. That's the same thing. That's a bike that a vintage Peugeot where I went from 27 inch to 700C and got what 38s on it. 38 Gravel Kings, or are they 35? I can't. I'm looking at it right now. If you wonder why I'm looking off in the distance, but yeah, they're definitely the vintage rims are pulling those the tires tighter than they would be. So I'm sure if you put a caliper on them, they're not measuring out to whatever is written on the sidewall. So yeah, 650 to 700. Yeah. Yeah, Josh is saying, "Oh, you got a new commuter." Yeah, I noticed you said that in the video that you were going to get a new computer, putting a basket on. I do love being able to throw stuff in the basket, and I don't like stuff on my back for long rides, but for short rides, and like when I have to carry a bunch of gear, like I said, camera gear and stuff like that. If I'm doing a video shoot and I don't need lighting, I could get away with like wearing a backpack. I definitely do that, but and like I said, 3-4 miles usually if I'm going to be riding to a shoot. Uh, the backpack's much easier. I don't want to have to pull everything off the bike like you were saying. If you're going to leave it somewhere, I can't leave my expensive equipment on bike bags, so it becomes a pain. The backpack sometimes is still just the best way to go. But yeah, like the grocery shopping thing and stuff like that, that's when I prefer the baskets and racks and all that. But I also don't worry, the grocery stores I go to, I don't worry about leaving it outside. I know you said you didn't want to leave some of your bags outside the shop. I don't have that, don't really have that issue at the places I go to around here. Tim, you said you're drinking some Yingling after a decade without. I thought Yingling was everywhere now. I didn't realize you couldn't get it everywhere. Isn't magnesium incredibly flammable? There was a whole thing about, yeah, sparks and stuff like that with magnesium, how true it ever was. I mean, they're not using pure magnesium, they're alloys, so I think they're taking away some, some of the characteristics that would have caused that problem. I think if you have a powder magnesium, it is incredibly flammable. Yeah, Josh said definitely too many people on YouTube commented if you just made the craziest statement they have ever heard. Yeah. Well, I just got a comment. I posted, oh, the bike, Rick, you had asked about the bicycle portraits, and I had posted like just a post on YouTube with one of them and said, had a fun time doing bicycle portraits on Tuesday, and it was like no stream tonight because I'm busy. I'll do it on Thursday. And some guy was like, if you try that in Detroit, like someone would kick your ass and steal your bike and all the creeps. And I'm like, I've ridden in Detroit. I've locked my bike up outside places, gone into coffee shops, stuff like that. Metropolis Cycles, a place I stopped by in Corktown. We could easily do something like that there. And it's just like, what are you talking about, man? Like, not that Detroit doesn't have really bad neighborhoods, but so does Cleveland and anywhere else. But yeah, some of the comments are just like, you're like, what? Where do you even coming up with this stuff? Tony said you could fit 38s on any frame if you're motivated enough. Tire rubbing is resistance training. All right, see you, Dimitri. Eddie said it stinks because there are a few great road 26-inch tires. Yeah, I mean, were there ever that many road bikes built with 26-inch wheels? I mean, I might just not know, but to me, I've always pictured it as that, mountain bike standard from back in the day. And I know there were like frame builders who built smaller frame sizes and used 26-inch wheels, but Canadian Thanksgiving is this weekend. I would not have known that. Yeah. No Yingling out in Colorado. Yeah, we didn't used to get it as much either, but it's made in the state over, so. Rick said, I found that a backpack in a basket is the best way to go. If you need to carry some stuff you brought along the way, you can just take the backpack out of the basket and put it on your back. And yeah, even just the, like I showed the video I just made, I had my camera bag on my back the whole day. And then when I was about to do like 11, 12 miles down the trail, put it into the basket to get it off my back for a while. So, yeah, definitely. I really like the bigger Swift bag with the quick release carrot ice rack. Yeah. I just don't worry about my bags if there's not something valuable in them. Like, I don't worry about anyone stealing my bags. I've never have anywhere I've gone. Plus, man, Swift, like, when you have like the valet straps and the strap around the thing, I always feel like, and even with just my jackets and stuff, I do feel like like a Swift bag, they're like kind of a pain to get into. So I guess I just don't really worry about them that much. But then, I feel like my bike would be stolen before the bags would be stolen off my bike. But that's, just where I live and, yeah, what my experience is. So. Yeah, you know what? I put my phone into a beer koozie and then I'll put it in my bag in the shorts that I don't like having it. My phone doesn't bother me in like jeans pockets that I have, but like in my shorts sometimes it like pulls my shorts really funny. So, yeah, definitely. And plus my Wahoo will give me my text messages and phone calls. I don't have it set up for anything else. It could do emails. I do not want that when I'm riding my bike. But so I could look at the text. I don't need my phone on me. And if it's something I need to deal with, I could get it out. Used to have a stem bag with a plastic sleeve for the phone, but it would overheat. Well, I don't run my phone while I'm riding. I mean, so it's basically off. That's the other thing I made videos about too. That's why I just love a bike computer. Just get the phone out of my life while I'm riding my bike. I am a freelancer and there are times when I do like need to check in on stuff, but a lot of time I'm like I'll ride to a destination or I'll have a spot in mind and it's like, okay, if it's daytime, I'm doing a daytime ride, I can pull my phone out when I stop, look at email messages, respond if I feel like I need to, or if I'm going to lunch solo, I could do it all then. But I do not want my phone on my handlebars like some people like. I do not want it out when I'm trying to like enjoy a ride. It just ruins it for me. It's so, plus once you open up your phone, you just get sucked into all the stuff. I just, yeah, just my opinion, obviously. I know I skipped a lot of comments to get caught up, guys, but yeah, like I said, I need to, well, one, I need to wrap it up because I am having so tomorrow I have a shoot in the morning, but then this weekend I have UA's Homecoming, which has a long tailgate, but there's also a 100-mile endurance run that I'm helping cover, and that's going to have me up late at night and up first thing in the morning, so I need to be prepared for that. And then we're leaving for, like I mentioned, Higher Ground on Friday and going to spend the whole week traveling out east and then doing Nutmeg the following weekend. So I just have to keep I have to keep on top of everything to make sure I don't get too behind. And I want to get a couple YouTube videos done to have put out while I'm gone. I'm working on one from when I was in Cincinnati. The edit's already at 15 minutes and I'm only halfway through the footage. A lot of you guys comment that you wouldn't mind me making longer videos. So I'm going to see what people feel about this one because I really like the 10-minute 10-minute like length for a video, but there's no way I'm going to get this. I'm going to try and tighten up the edit, but there's no way I'm going to get this one probably under 20 minutes. So I'll see if everyone who says I should make longer videos turns out to be correct about that. Yeah, so I'm halfway through that video. I plan to stream on Tuesday still. I don't have anything on the schedule Tuesday night or anything super early on Wednesday morning, but I have shoots almost every evening except Tuesday next week. So it'll be like coming home, knocking out those photos so I could leave with a clear conscience on Friday. And then a lot of you have asked about imaginary or Dave, Invisible Dave over here. That's one of the big benefits of having Dave is he's shooting a couple jobs for me while I'm gone, so I could actually leave, and I don't just have to say no to everything, which is such a relief after all these years of being just a one-man show. Yeah, weather's going to so much depend on what we do. I'm doing higher ground, then we're going to be in New York State, and then we're going to be out in Connecticut. So, yeah. Might try and get to New York City. I would love to. Might take the train from where we're staying down in New York and ride for a day. So, yeah, going to be a lot of fun. Should get a lot of cool videos out of that. Other thing is I'll be able to bring now that I have a good laptop, bring that and maybe even edit a video while I'm gone. We'll see. Just depends on how it goes, so. Rick, you said you routinely watch 1 hour videos. Yeah, see, I'm I guess it's probably the same thing with anyone who makes YouTube videos. You kind of make what you like. And so for me, it's like I like to watch 2 or 3 videos like in the morning and 2 or 3 videos where I'm having lunch and then maybe before I wind down and go to bed. And I just like that 10 minutes because it's not that much of a commitment. Like I see like a 25-minute video and I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm going to sit here for 25 minutes. If I watch a 10-minute video, then I could be like, do I want to chill for another video and watch one more 10-minute video? So yeah, I guess, you kind of make what your habits are, so. That's why I haven't watched Traveling Through's video yet. There hasn't been a moment where I'm like, oh, I'm ready to watch a 44-minute video. And I know I could break it up. I know I could like watch half of it and then watch the other half later. But yeah, I watch longer stuff in the winter when the weather sucks. This time of year, I'm still trying to squeeze in getting outside as much as possible. Anyways, with all of that, I know I didn't play the new members video. I'll make sure we do on Tuesday. But we had a good chat going, and we just kept it rolling. So, yeah. With that, oh, Christian, yeah, I do the same thing. That's why I like YouTube podcasts because they're not visual. Like, I'm never going to watch a Terry B video while I'm working because like they're visual and I need to be like, it's pointless if I'm not watching what's going on. Or Dustin Klein, like there's so much going on in the video, but there are other kinds of videos that I could watch in the background. Like I said, podcasts are great for that. All right, dudes, I will hopefully have that Cincy video out over the weekend and we'll live chat on Tuesday. And then, yeah, we'll see what happens after that. Cause like I said, I'll be rushing to get my stuff together to be out on the road, but all right.
Okay, bye.
All right.
Okay, this time.
Fitzwater photo.
You catch the